quest for enlightenment has captivated human hearts and minds for millennia, woven into the fabric of spiritual traditions, philosophical inquiries, and personal aspirations across the globe. It is often heralded as the pinnacle of existence, a state of ultimate clarity, unshakable peace, or transcendence beyond the mundane. Yet, what if this pursuit, this relentless striving for a distant ideal, is the very barrier preventing its realization? What if the act of seeking enlightenment is not a path to freedom, but a self-imposed trap that keeps it forever out of reach? This article embarks on a profound exploration of the radical premise that enlightenment is not a goal to be attained, not a treasure to be unearthed, but a reality already present, obscured only by the illusions crafted by the mind. Rather than offering prescriptive techniques or anecdotal illustrations, this expanded discussion focuses on the conceptual and philosophical obstacles that perpetuate the cycle of seeking. We will unravel the paradoxes inherent in the concept of enlightenment, dissect the mind's role in sustaining the illusion of separation, reframe the purpose of meditation, dismantle the notion of a separate self, and illuminate the subtle yet transformative nature of life after the search dissolves. By the end, readers may come to see that the truth they seek is not a distant horizon, but the very ground they stand on, the present moment, unadulterated by the mind's distortions. Enlightenment resists all attempts at definition. The moment we try to pin it down with words, to encapsulate it within the confines of language, it slips through our fingers, becoming a mere caricature of its true essence. The mind, ever eager for certainty, craves a clear explanation, a framework to follow, a set of principles to adhere to, a map to guide the way. But enlightenment is not a concept to be intellectualized, not a doctrine to be memorized, nor a destination to be reached through diligent effort. It exists beyond the realm of thought, beyond the structures of language, beyond the categories the mind uses to navigate reality. Imagine attempting to convey the taste of water to someone who has never sipped it. You might describe its chemical composition, compare it to other beverages, or poetically muse about its refreshing purity, but none of these words capture the direct, unmediated experience of drinking. Enlightenment is analogous. It is not something to be understood, analyzed, or mastered. It is something to be lived. Throughout history, the wisest sages, Zen masters, mystic poets, and spiritual luminaries refrained from offering definitive answers. Instead, they pointed beyond language, using koans, silence, or paradoxical statements to shatter their students' assumptions. They stripped away beliefs, concepts, and illusions, leaving nothing in their wake. Not a void, but an absence of the need to define, to grasp, to seek. This is the central paradox. The mind's desire to comprehend enlightenment creates a sense of separation. By treating it as something to be acquired, we imply that it is not already here. Enlightenment is not a new state that suddenly emerges. It is what remains when the veils of illusion fall away. It is not an achievement, but a recognition, a seeing of what has always been present, obscured only by the mind's relentless chatter. Why do countless individuals dedicate years, even lifetimes, to the pursuit of enlightenment? The answer lies in the nature of the mind itself. The mind is a restless entity, thriving on activity, purpose, and pursuit. It delights in problems to solve, mysteries to unravel, and goals to chase. It convinces us that enlightenment is a rare and precious commodity, something to be earned through rigorous meditation, exhaustive study, or unwavering spiritual discipline. This belief, however, is the very snare that keeps us bound. The act of seeking inherently creates a sense of distance. By assuming enlightenment lies out there, in a future moment, within the pages of a sacred text, or under the guidance of an enlightened teacher, we reinforce the illusion that we are separate from it. The mind whispers that we are not yet ready, not yet worthy, not yet enlightened. It dangles the promise that if we meditate for more hours, read another spiritual classic, or master a particular technique, we will finally arrive at the coveted state. But this arrival never materializes, because the act of seeking is what sustains the illusion of lack. Every moment spent chasing enlightenment is a moment we implicitly declare that it is absent, that it is not here, not now. The mind's addiction to the chase is a self-perpetuating cycle. It invents a problem, the absence of enlightenment, and then offers an array of solutions, practices, teachings, rituals, none of which resolve the issue because the issue was never real to begin with. The truth is starkly simple. Enlightenment is not a destination at the end of a long road. It is the road itself, the reality of this very moment, unfiltered by the mind's narratives. Meditation is frequently misunderstood as a method to attain enlightenment, a disciplined practice designed to quiet the mind, transcend thoughts, or unlock a higher state of consciousness. This perspective, however, is yet another illusion born of the mind's need for action and progress. Meditation is not a means to an end. It is the end itself. It is not about reaching a destination, but about realizing that there is nowhere to go, nothing to achieve. Many approach meditation with a sense of struggle, sitting in silence while waging war against their thoughts, striving to achieve a state of perfect stillness or profound peace. They believe that if they can suppress the mind's chatter, they will uncover some ultimate truth. But this is not meditation. It is control, a subtle form of resistance orchestrated by the ego. True meditation is not about silencing the mind, but about recognizing that silence is already present, beneath the surface of thought. Thoughts are like waves on the surface of an ocean, rising and falling, appearing and dissolving. The ocean itself, however, does not struggle against the waves. It remains still, unaffected by their movement. Similarly, the problem is not the presence of thoughts, but the belief that they should not exist. Real meditation is a surrender to what is, a letting go of the need to control, to force, to achieve. It is the recognition that stillness is not something to be created, but something already here, obscured only by the mind's fixation on effort. The story of Bodhidharma, the founder of Zen, illustrates this vividly. For 9 years he sat facing a wall, not to attain enlightenment, not to reach a final state, but simply to be. This is the heart of meditation, not a technique, not a system, not a path, but a direct engagement with reality. It is breathing, existing, being fully present without the compulsion to change anything. The mind, however, resists this simplicity. It demands structure, step-by-step instructions, measurable progress, tangible goals. But the moment meditation is reduced to a method, it becomes another form of seeking, another illusion to chase. Meditation, in its truest form, is life itself. It is the moment you take a breath without trying to control it, the moment you notice the world without labeling it, the moment you exist without needing to improve or become. It is the realization that nothing is missing, that this moment, exactly as it is whole, complete, and sufficient. At the core of the spiritual search lies the assumption of a separate self, a distinct me who seeks enlightenment, who suffers, who strives to become something more. But who is this self? When we peel back the layers of identity, name, history, thoughts, beliefs, what remains? The self is not a fixed, enduring entity, but a construct, a tapestry of conditioned ideas and narratives. From the moment we are born, we are inundated with labels, a name, a family, a culture, a set of expectations. We are taught who we are, what to value, what to fear. Over time, these ideas solidify, becoming so deeply ingrained that they feel like undeniable truth. But they are not truth. They are conditioning, a collection of mental habits and learned stories. Consider the impermanence of what we call self. The body is in constant flux. Cells die and regenerate. The form of today is not the form of yesterday. The mind is equally transient. Thoughts arise and vanish, emotions ebb and flow, perspectives shift with time and experience. If the self were real, it would be unchanging, permanent, graspable. Yet, when we look closely, We find no such entity. The great Zen masters posed this challenge to their students. Show me yourself. None could, because the self is not a thing to be pointed to. It is an illusion, a fleeting mirage. What remains when the self is seen through is awareness, formless, boundless, unchanging. This awareness is the silent witness to all experiences, thoughts, emotions, sensations. It observes without being altered, exists without being confined. This is what you are, not a person, not a story, not a collection of attributes, but the eternal presence in which all things appear and disappear. Suffering arises from identifying with the illusion of the self. We believe there is a me to protect, a me that can succeed or fail, a me that seeks enlightenment to escape pain or achieve fulfillment. But if the self is not real, who suffers? Who seeks? When this illusion collapses, suffering ceases, not because life becomes devoid of challenges, but because the one who suffers is recognized as unreal. Pain may arise, but it no longer sticks. It passes through without leaving a trace. One of the most pervasive myths about enlightenment is that it transforms life into something extraordinary, a state of perpetual bliss, a departure from the mundane, a transcendence of human existence. In reality, life after enlightenment is strikingly ordinary. The same tasks persist: eating, working, interacting. The same challenges endure: relationships, responsibilities, the unpredictability of the world. Yet everything is different, not because the external circumstances change, but because the lens through which life is experienced shifts irrevocably. Before enlightenment, every moment is filtered through the mind's relentless commentary. Experiences are judged, categorized, and measured against the self's desires and fears. Drinking a cup of tea is rarely just drinking tea. It is accompanied by thoughts of the past, worries about the future, or judgments about the tea itself. Walking down a street is not just walking. It is colored by comparisons, ambitions, or anxieties. Life is lived as a means to an end, a series of steps toward some imagined future where happiness or fulfillment awaits. The present moment is overlooked, dismissed as insufficient. After enlightenment, there is only the present. Drinking tea becomes a complete act, whole in itself, unburdened by mental noise. Walking is simply walking, each step a moment of pure existence. Thoughts may still arise. They are part of the human experience, but they are no longer taken seriously. They drift like clouds across a clear sky, leaving the sky itself untouched. Life continues in its outward form, but the inner resistance, the constant striving, the need for something more, dissolves. This does not imply emotional detachment or a robotic existence. Those who have seen through the illusion of the self still laugh, cry, love, and grieve. Emotions arise, but they do not linger, because there is no self to cling to them, to make them personal. Anger passes without leaving resentment. Sadness flows without becoming suffering. Joy is savored without fear of its loss. Life moves through, but it no longer sticks. The paradox is that this ordinary life becomes extraordinary, not through dramatic changes, but through clarity. The mundane reveals its inherent beauty. A leaf falling from a tree, the rhythm of rain against a window, the sensation of breath entering and leaving the body. These moments, once overlooked, now shine with a quiet brilliance, complete in themselves, needing no embellishment. The Zen proverb encapsulates this truth. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The tasks remain, but the struggle, the resistance, the need for life to be other than it is, vanishes. This freedom is not what most expect. They envision enlightenment as a cosmic event, a blinding revelation, a permanent state of ecstasy, a liberation from the human condition. But it is far simpler. It is life, exactly as it is, seen without the distortion of the mind, without the illusion of a separate self. It is so simple that most overlook it, continuing their search for something grander, something beyond. The most enduring illusion is the belief that enlightenment is something to attain, something external, something hidden behind years of effort, practice, or discipline. But the truth is that you were never separate from it, not for a single moment. The only thing that made enlightenment seem distant was the mind's conviction that you were incomplete, that you needed to become something more. From childhood, we are conditioned to perceive separation, a you distinct from the world, an observer separate from the observed, a thinker apart from thoughts. This sense of division is reinforced by language, culture, and experience. Yet, when we examine direct experience, where is this boundary? Right now, as you read these words, is there a clear line between you and the act of reading, or is there simply reading, an unfolding experience, seamless and whole? The mind insists on separation, clinging to identity, labels, and stories. But these are illusions, mental constructs with no substance. Time itself is another illusion. The past exists only as memory, a thought arising now. The future exists only as anticipation, another thought arising now. Everything you have ever known, every experience you have ever had, has only ever occurred in the present moment. Yet the mind resists this truth, because the present moment threatens its narratives. It has no use for stories, identities, or goals. To fully surrender to now is to let the self dissolve, not in a dramatic explosion, but in a quiet fading, like a dream upon waking. The search for enlightenment is futile because you cannot find what you never lost. There is no you to awaken, only awakening itself, a seeing of reality as it is, without the filter of the self. The mind may protest, asking, "But how do I live this truth? What do I do next?" That question is the final illusion, the last thread of attachment to the idea that something more is needed. There is no how, no next step, no deeper truth to uncover. There is only this moment, whole and complete. Even after glimpsing this truth, the mind may cling to its need for purpose. It asks, if there is nothing to seek, what is the point of life? How do I move forward? This question reveals the last remnant of the self, the belief that life must have a grand narrative, a higher calling, a reason to justify its existence. Purpose is another construct, another story the mind tells to avoid the simplicity of being. The idea that life needs to be important, that it must culminate in great achievements or profound meaning, is a continuation of the same illusion that fueled the search for enlightenment. But life does not require a purpose to be whole. It is already complete, already sufficient, exactly as it is. After the illusion of seeking dissolves, life continues as before. You wake up, eat, work, connect with others. But the heavy weight of expectation is gone. You are no longer trying to prove your worth, to achieve significance, to become something more. Actions arise naturally, without the need to measure their value or cling to their outcomes. Some may create art, teach, or build empires. Others may live quietly, unnoticed by the world. Neither path is superior, because there is no self to compare, to judge, to justify. Success and failure lose their hold, because there is no one to take credit or bear blame. Challenges arise, but they are no longer personal. They are simply part of the flow of life. This is the greatest freedom, the freedom from needing life to be anything other than what it is. You act, engage, and live. But you are no longer bound by the mind's relentless need for meaning. This freedom is not what most anticipate. They expect enlightenment to bestow a divine mission, a clear path, a sense of ultimate purpose. But what if life is enough without needing to feel important? What if the beauty of existence lies in its simplicity, its ordinariness, its unadorned presence? This is liberation, not an escape from the world, but a full embrace of it, unfiltered by the illusions of the mind. Enlightenment is not a prize to be won, a state to be achieved, or a transformation to be undergone. It is not a higher plane of existence, a cosmic revelation, or a goal to be reached through effort. It is the recognition that there was never anything to find, never anywhere to go, never anyone to become. The greatest illusion was the belief that you were separate from reality, that you needed to attain something to be whole. But you are whole. You always were. The mind may resist this truth, searching for one final insight, one last reassurance that ties it all together. But there is nothing left to say, nothing left to seek. This moment is it, complete, unadulterated, free. There is no next step, no deeper truth, no technique to unlock the mystery. Either you see it or you don't. If you don't, it is only because the mind is still chasing something other than what is already here. Most will continue their search, drawn to the allure of something greater, something beyond. They will read more books, follow more teachers, practice more techniques, believing that enlightenment lies just around the corner. But for those who are ready, those who stop, who look, who see, everything changes. Not because life itself transforms, but because the need for it to be different vanishes. The cycle of seeking collapses, and all that remains is reality. Simple, ordinary, and profoundly free.